the Zoth'naa's overconfidence in their power. At the outset of the story, the Zoth'naa, an ancient, war-hardened species, arrive on Earth expecting nothing short of an effortless conquest. Lieutenant Xara, young yet experienced, leads the charge. Her race has conquered countless planets across the galaxy, establishing their dominance through fear and brute strength. They have become an unstoppable force, with technology far superior to most of the civilizations they've subdued. The Zoth'naa's philosophy is simple: intimidate, control, and consume. Xara's crew is filled with confidence as they approach Earth. They are convinced that humanity is just another in a long list of primitive species to be conquered. The humans, in their eyes, are nothing but feeble creatures, unworthy of serious consideration. Earth's technology is outdated compared to the Zoth'naa's, and their defenses are laughable at best. The Zoth'naa have never encountered an adversary who could even remotely challenge their might. To them, Earth is simply a stepping stone, a means to expand their empire, a quick and easy victory to add to their collection of conquered worlds. This overconfidence isn't limited to Xara alone. It's shared by the entire crew, all of whom are eager to feast on the spoils of their invasion. They assume that the humans will panic, surrender their resources, and be easily dominated. But most of all, they believe the humans will react in fear, the kind of fear that has been their defining weapon in every conquest. Fear, after all, is a powerful tool when you are the stronger species. It makes enemies compliant. It ensures that victory is all but guaranteed. As Xara's boots hit the surface of Earth, she expects to see the usual chaos: humans screaming, running, begging for their lives. Yet what she encounters is entirely different. There is a stillness, a calmness in the air, almost as if the humans are waiting for something. And this is where her fatal mistake begins. She assumes it's fear. The humans aren't afraid, they're prepared. The Zoth'naa's belief that their power is absolute blinds them to the possibility that the humans might have a different plan entirely. They arrogantly dismiss the idea that the humans could pose any kind of challenge. In their eyes, this mission is merely a formality, a foregone conclusion. Yet, as the story unfolds, this overconfidence will prove to be the Zoth'naa's greatest weakness. They have underestimated humanity, and in doing so, they have sealed their own fate. The final twist in this section comes when Xara's blind belief in her own superiority begins to crack, slowly at first, as she notices the odd behavior of the humans around her. They aren't cowering or pleading, they're standing tall, observing her with calculating eyes. What she assumes is a submissive crowd is in fact a collection of individuals who have already anticipated her every move. The reality she has built in her mind begins to unravel. The humans, it seems, are not just helpless prey waiting to be devoured. They are watching, waiting, and preparing for something much more significant than she could have ever imagined. This moment of realization is the first sign of a power shift that will reverberate throughout the story. In the end, it's this overconfidence, this arrogance in assuming their victory was inevitable that leads to the Zoth'naa's downfall. The very trait that had carried them to success on countless other worlds becomes the blind spot that Earth's humans will exploit to turn the tide in their favor. 2. The unexpected response from humanity. When Xara and her crew land on Earth, they are ready for the usual sights and sounds of terror: humans scattering in fear, hiding in bunkers, and frantically preparing for their inevitable end. The Zoth'naa have invaded countless planets, and their brutal methods have always worked. Their sheer power has crushed entire civilizations, and they've never had to work too hard for victory. So when Xara's boots touch the soil of Earth, she expects to see the same reactions she's grown accustomed to in her conquests. Her expectations are high, and her confidence is skyrocketing. However, what greets her is not a planet in chaos, not an army of frightened citizens, but something entirely different: silence. The humans aren't running. They aren't screaming. Instead, they are gathered in small groups, standing firm, watching the Zoth'naa with what could only be described as calm observation. At first, Xara dismisses it. Perhaps the humans are hiding, waiting for the right moment to flee. But something doesn't add up. The stillness is unsettling, and it's like the humans are just waiting. As Xara steps forward, she encounters her first human, a man who stands alone, facing her without a weapon, completely unarmed. His posture is unbothered, his expression serene, yet there is a palpable tension in the air. Xara, with all her superiority, expects him to cower before her. But instead, he meets her eyes and asks, without hesitation, "You really thought we'd be afraid of you?" Xara's confusion grows. Fear is a universal reaction when a superior force invades, especially among beings as primitive as the humans. But this man isn't afraid. His voice doesn't quiver, his knees don't shake, and his gaze doesn't waver. There's something about his presence, his calmness, that feels almost alien to Xara, who has never encountered such a display of defiance from a lesser species. As more humans emerge from the shadows, each one holds the same composed demeanor. There is no chaos, no panic, just steady eyes watching her, calculating, waiting. The human man steps closer, and Xara feels an unsettling chill wash over her. "You may have power over technology, but we've learned to adapt," he says, his voice unwavering, "and we don't need to fear you." Xara's heart skips a beat. Adapt, the concept, is alien to her. She knows of the humans' primitive technology and culture, but adaptation. How could a species that still clung to such rudimentary technology possibly have the means to resist? She expected to find weaklings, dependent on their frailty and vulnerability. Instead, she finds a species that seems to have already anticipated her every move. It's as though they prepared for this day, not with fear, but with a quiet resolve. As she moves deeper into the human camp, Xara realizes the truth: these humans have no fear because they've been preparing for a moment like this. They aren't frightened by her ships, her weaponry, or even her species' reputation. The human race is not only resourceful, but they've spent generations learning to thrive in ways that make them nearly impossible to predict. The entire planet seems to have a quiet confidence that shakes her to her core. Xara's initial belief that she could dominate this planet with ease is crumbling. She expects the humans to panic and beg for mercy, but instead they stand resolute. Their bravery, their preparation, their sheer audacity to face a force like hers without blinking it is more unsettling than any weapon she has encountered. The humans have faced oppression and adversity throughout their history, and rather than cowering, they've learned to rise above it. There is no fear in them, only a quiet power that Xara can't comprehend. And then, the final moment of realization hits her: the humans are not passive, helpless beings. They are active, engaged, and ready. They have anticipated not just her arrival, but the very possibility of someone like her. They have not just survived, they have evolved, and now they stand as a species that will not bend, break, or be consumed. This revelation is what terrifies Xara the most. The humans are no longer the prey. They are a force to be reckoned with. What she initially thought was a display of weaknesses, in fact, a demonstration of the humans' quiet strength and readiness for whatever comes next. Their calm, collected nature is not submission, it is strategy, and Xara, the supposed conqueror, is the one who has underestimated her prey. By the time she fully grasps this shift in power, it's too late. The humans aren't waiting for the invasion to happen, they have already prepared to take control. The world that Xara thought would be hers to devour is about to prove that its people are not merely survivors, but warriors in their own right. 3. Humans' unexpected adaptability and resourcefulness. As Xara begins to grapple with the unsettling realization that the humans are not cowering before her, the true power of humanity's adaptability and resourcefulness begins to unfold. She had come to Earth expecting to face a species with a handful of rudimentary weapons and primitive defenses. What she encounters, however, is something entirely unexpected: a species that has mastered the art of adaptation, one that has found ways to survive in hostile environments, innovate under pressure, and develop new technologies that make their defenders far more capable than Xara initially thought. As she watches more humans emerge from the shadows, Xara notices something peculiar. They aren't using the advanced weaponry or technology she'd expected. Instead, they are wielding strange, unfamiliar tools, glowing rods, devices that seem to manipulate energy in ways that defy her understanding. The air hums with an energy that feels both alien and terrifying. These aren't the crude weapons of a backward species, they are sophisticated, highly effective countermeasures. The humans don't need to rely on the brute strength of their bodies or the sheer force of their ships. They have harnessed something far more dangerous, their ingenuity. Xara's first sign of trouble comes when one of the human defenders activates a strange device, and the ground beneath her feet begins to tremble. At first, she assumes it's a trap, perhaps a defensive maneuver to slow her down, but the reality is much more alarming. The ground is shifting, but not in a way that suggests an earthquake. Instead, it seems as though the Earth itself is being manipulated. The Zoth'naa's weapons, designed to cut through even the toughest armor, seem to be less effective against whatever this new technology is. The energy fields these humans have created seem to absorb and neutralize the power of her weaponry. Her superior technology is being rendered almost useless. The humans have figured out how to manipulate energy at a fundamental level, bending it to their will in ways that make their species a formidable force. They've adapted, but it isn't just their technology that's impressive. Their very ability to learn, to improve, to overcome their limitations is what sets them apart. Xara is astounded as she watches humans work in teams, using their knowledge of the environment and their technology in ways she could never have predicted. It's not just about having superior weapons, it's about creativity. The humans have no overwhelming technological advantage, but they have the ability to make what they do have more effective than she could ever have imagined. Xara tries to call for reinforcements, but the humans seem to be everywhere, cutting off her communication systems, jamming her attempts to rally her fleet. With every passing moment, the humans' ingenuity becomes more apparent. They've studied the Zoth'naa, and they've learned how to counter their strengths. They've used their resourcefulness not just to defend their planet, but to turn it into a weapon against invaders like herself. Even more startling, the humans don't just rely on advanced machines and technology, they have honed their own ability to adapt in ways that make them unpredictable. Xara begins to see humans using their surroundings to their advantage, camouflaging themselves in the environment, using their knowledge of terrain to create ambushes. Every time she believes she has the upper hand, they adapt again, outsmarting her with tactics that seem to defy reason. The humans are not just fighting back, they are learning, evolving in real time, and using their adaptability to stay one step ahead. The more Xara tries to impose her will on Earth, the more she realizes how futile her efforts are. She cannot control this planet. The humans have something that no technology can replicate: resilience. They don't just survive, they thrive in the face of overwhelming odds. They take what's available to them and turn it into a strength, an asset. Whether it's their technological innovations or their sheer will to survive, humans have proven that they will not go down quietly. And then, the most startling realization hits Xara. What she had thought was a simple human resistance has turned into an overwhelming force of nature. She has underestimated them at every turn. The humans have not just adapted to their environment, they've adapted to her presence, her tactics, and her power. Where she once saw weakness, she now sees a species that has mastered the art of overcoming insurmountable challenges. The very adaptability she thought was a trait of lesser beings is now the force that will tear through her and her crew. As the story reaches its climax, Xara finds herself at the mercy of the humans' ingenuity. The battle shifts from a conquest of superiority to one of survival, where the humans' ability to learn, grow, and innovate is their greatest weapon. It is their resourcefulness, their creativity, and their relentless will to push forward that drives them to victory. Xara's arrogance and underestimation of the human spirit have led her directly into their trap, and now they are the ones in control. The humans' adaptability isn't just a reaction to external threats, it's a defining trait of their species. Xara's own power, once so unassailable, crumbles under the weight of humanity's resolve and their ability to evolve. The last thing Xara sees before her capture is the smile of the same human who had first spoken to her, now standing over her, his eyes filled with something she never expected, not fear, but respect for a species that refuses to be dominated. The humans have proven that no matter how advanced a predator might be, adaptability will always be their strongest weapon, and that weapon has just turned the tables. 4. The reversal of roles, humans become the predators. As Xara and her crew struggle to maintain control over their invasion, something that began as a simple conquest turns into something far more profound. The tables begin to turn when the Zoth'naa, despite their superior technology and military prowess, find themselves cornered by the very humans they once deemed weak and defenseless. The relentless ingenuity and adaptability of the human race are becoming increasingly apparent as the invaders are subjected to counterattacks they can neither predict nor withstand. With every failed attempt to break the human resistance, Xara and her comrades realize, too late, that they have underestimated the power of humanity's will to survive and to fight back. The first signs of this power shift come when the humans deploy a tactic that baffles Xara. A coordinated strike, using seemingly simple tools and strategies, targets the Zoth'naa's vulnerable points. Xara's crew, who had believed themselves impervious to human resistance, are suddenly facing coordinated attacks that exploit their weaknesses. As Xara witnesses the humans' precision and ingenuity firsthand, she is forced to confront an undeniable truth: the humans are not the prey, they are the hunters. The Zoth'naa's weapons, which had once been formidable, begin to malfunction against the human-made energy shields that the humans have adapted from their own technology. Even the once unstoppable Zoth'naa ships are systematically disabled by a series of human-engineered electromagnetic pulses, leaving Xara and her crew stranded on Earth, unable to call for reinforcements or escape. The Zoth'naa are being picked off one by one, not through force, but through human intelligence, innovation, and sheer determination. As the humans systematically dismantle the Zoth'naa's hold over Earth, the roles between invader and victim are irreversibly reversed. The predator has become the prey. Xara watches helplessly as her crew is taken captive by human forces, who now treat their once feared invaders as mere prisoners. The tables have turned so completely that Xara herself is captured and held in a secure facility, surrounded by humans who no longer regard her as a conqueror, but as a captive, just another alien species that will have to answer for their transgressions. Throughout her capture, Xara is forced to witness the human ingenuity that has become the true power behind their resistance. The humans use their technology not to destroy, but to incapacitate, ensuring that the Zoth'naa's invasion is dismantled without unnecessary bloodshed. Instead of killing their captives, the humans now hold the Zoth'naa accountable, forcing them to recognize their role as aggressors in a galaxy where the human race is no longer the helpless prey they once appeared to be. Xara's final moment of realization comes when she is brought before a council of humans. The same species she once thought of as weak and primitive now stands before her, not with the vengeance she expected, but with a sense of quiet justice. They have not just beaten her, they have done so by using the very tools of survival that have long defined their species: adaptability, resourcefulness, and a determination to never be subjugated. The humans, who once had no choice but to fight for their survival against larger, more powerful forces, have now become a force in their own right. As the council deliberates on what to do with her and her crew, Xara finds herself in an unfamiliar position, a position where she must plead for her life, where she must beg for mercy, just as countless species have done in the face of the Zoth'naa's predation. But there is no anger in the eyes of the humans, only quiet resolve. They have not conquered her out of malice. They have done so because they refuse to be anyone's prey. The final sentence in the council's decision is simple, but it resonates in Xara's mind like a death knell: your kind will not be allowed to prey on us any longer. The humans are not just surviving, they have risen to the top of the galactic food chain, and they are now the predators. The Zoth'naa, who had once ruled over countless civilizations, are now at the mercy of a species they once saw as insignificant. The humans have learned to fight back, to adapt, and ultimately, to rise above. The invasion has failed, not because of brute strength or superior weaponry, but because the humans no longer allow themselves to be victims. In the end, it is humanity's refusal to be defeated that makes them the true rulers of their fate. As Xara is taken away to an uncertain future, she realizes that the universe is no longer the same place. Humanity has proven that it is no longer just a species to be feared, but a species that will rule. And in their victory, they have shown that in the end, the greatest weapon is not technology, but the unyielding will to survive and adapt. The predators have been replaced by a far greater force, humanity itself. The story centers on the Zoth'naa, a powerful alien race that invades Earth, expecting an easy conquest. Led by Lieutenant Xara, they anticipate the humans will fear them as other civilizations have. However, they are shocked to find humans calm, strategic, and prepared for resistance. Using their resourcefulness and advanced technology, humans quickly begin to turn the tide, outsmarting the Zoth'naa at every turn. As the humans adapt and innovate, the Zoth'naa are overwhelmed. What began as a one-sided invasion turns into a role reversal, with humans becoming the predators and the Zoth'naa becoming the prey. Captured and defeated, Xara and her crew are brought before a human council, where they realize that humanity has evolved far beyond what they expected. The council declares your kind will not prey on us any longer, signifying humanity's shift from victims to dominant force. The Zoth'naa, once conquerors of countless worlds, now face their own defeat, and humanity emerges victorious, having proven that adaptability and unyielding will are their greatest strengths.